again, when we talk about our young horses this afternoon and picking out a horse that hasn't been ridden and it's out in the field, what do you look for? Steph and I will tell you some things that we look for, but again, until you really see the horse move and sometimes even sit on the horse and feel how they accept your leg and touch the rein and see how they accept the bit, sometimes you have the best horse in the whole world, the best body, and it has no mind, and you won't get there. You know, and again, you have a fabulous mind and an average horse, and they're very trainable. So, you know, we'll do our best this afternoon to guide you along those ways. But you could see these two did such a super job that the training really has improved everything. Okay, so oh, I think this is for you. It's a name and a telephone number. It says, "What are you doing for dinner later?"
She wasn't kidding, oh my God.
I can tell you that his wife is very tall and very mean. She's not. In the Grand Prix, the mare appears to have a labored canter. How would this impact her gait score and possibility? The other general impression marks, what would your comments be to coincide with the marks? The gait score, when we talk about the gait score, it reflects the regularity of all three gaits. It also a little bit talks about the freedom and the expression in the gaits. For myself, if I'm sort of thinking, oh gosh, is it a 6 or a 7 or a 7 or an 8? If I'm between two scores, I'll use the medium gaits or the lengthenings as a modifier. That if the horse shows increased freedom in the lengthenings or the mediums, I'll go up. I never use the lack of a medium or a lengthening to go down. So the problem, if she looks labored, that's really an impulsion problem. You know, the elasticity, the hind legs, we kind of think of impulsion in the general impressions as talking about the back and the hind legs. Okay? It's a little bit, can the horse do the test? Submission then is a little bit the head, the neck, and the mouth, and will he do the test? It's a little bit more about the ability to perform the different movements. And then, of course, the rider score, we have some riders, and I'll probably get in trouble for this as usual, but for me, a rider who is clearly detrimental to the horse's performance, whether there's some abusive behavior or incorrect aids all the way through the test, or a very, very crooked rider, I tend to go to a 4. Because I explained yesterday that I feel if the rider is inhibiting the performance of the horse, the rider should have the lowest score, not the horse getting the lowest score in submission. Then for me, a 5 on rider is a rider who is not interfering, but they're also not being very helpful. They don't really have much of an influence. It's more of a passenger. A 6 on rider is one that has some, mostly going in the right way, maybe has a good position, but isn't very influential. And then a 7 and above, of course, is a rider that not only has a correct position, can sit in the middle of the horse, but is showing that they can prepare the horse for the movements. And that cat almost got it. And that the horse can perform the movements, and the rider has a more positive, correct influence over the performance of the horse. So the mare with the labored canter, probably just because the canter was a little bit labored, that would go more toward impulsion. Do you want to answer one of yours?
Yeah, you talked about it briefly before lunch. What do you consider the best temperament for a dressage horse today for a pro rider? And I think it is a horse that has the desire to move forward. We're going to have to accept that the horse is not the most relaxed horse. We have to be able to deal with that positive tension a little bit. But I'd like to compared sometimes to a certain temperature. It's almost like a car. A car doesn't operate when it's really hot, and the car certainly doesn't operate when it's cold. It's that perfect operating temperature. And if the horse has a temperament where you can get him into a little bit positive tension in the trot and the canter, but still give him the rein and get a super relaxed walk, that would be the ideal temperament. Now, that's most likely the horse that might have in the beginning of his career a little spook in him, and the professional rider should be able to deal with that. Yeah? So,
she's offering the kitty as a sacrifice. Don't put this on the internet. She'll be besieged by animal rights activists. All right, I have a question about the purpose of having two Grand Prix tests, i.e. the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix Special. Well, for a while we had three Grand Prix tests. We had the Grand Prix A and the Grand Prix B, but the Grand Prix A was basically guaranteed to make the horses lame. I think nobody liked it. The riders hated it, and it was very, very difficult. So that went by the wayside. So it says Grand Prix B. They should just take that away and make it the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix Special, I don't know. We can ask Steffen what he thinks. Personally, when I rode, I thought the Special was a little bit easier in some ways, because for the horse I had, who was a little bit lazy, it was nice to be able to have those extensions to go forward, come back, go forward, and come back. It's a little bit more of a shortened version of the Grand Prix. I don't know. What do you think?
You know, I think it's, even if it's shorter, it's still physically more demanding for the horse, and that's why it's considered more difficult. But it depends on the horse, and yes, for some horses, the test is designed more beneficially, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's not a very clear answer. It depends on your horse.
Yeah.